Alright, this will be my final build for my Fallout 4 permadeath survival mode. And here it is. Now, right off the bat, this requires every single bobblehead to get. And I do know it's going to be somewhat challenging of a build, but if you can pull it off, it's just pure gold. So before we get started, I have the guide here. We're going to run down like everything. We're going to be going after perks and stuff. So for strength, with the bobblehead, by the way, I highly recommend you go after these bobbleheads early on. Intelligence first, strength second. Endurance is hard no matter what. Charisma third. Agility and I know endurance are together, but luck is probably the easiest one to get. But starting off with strength. With one bobblehead, you will have level 3 strength. You'll have access to armor, and that's pretty much all you need for strength. Strong back, I mean, you have the book pack. We will be taking advantage of Creation Club, obviously. Especially for the endurance bobblehead, we'll have the Sentinel armor to come with us to help us with that. But strength is pretty straightforward. All you need is 3. With the DLC, the Vault-Tec DLC, you'll be able to train it to 4. Of course, you won't have access to the perk, but moving on to perception. Perception is going to be the one that's probably going to be the most turn off for most people. But in survival mode, you don't need perception at all. You have no perception. The enemies don't appear on your HUD, on your hub, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, yes, there are good perks, but all of that can be substituted with luck. Luck, to me, is the most important one. That's why it has the most points on it. So with the bobblehead, you'll have riflemen, and pretty much all you'll need. Obviously, we're sacrificing demolition expert and locksmith, which can be a turnoff for most people, but it's not really a requirement. Eventually, we will have all this maxed out anyway, but in the beginning of the game, it's just not that important. Now, an alternate to this build, you could lower the intelligence and then give it to perception if you really need the spray and pray. I don't like the spray and pray too much because it gets me killed more often than not. There was a glitch, one of my last playthroughs I did about over a year ago, where the hitbox was appearing around my character, and the spray and the gun, the explosion bounced off and killed me, which was insane. I wish I recorded it because it was like one of the most craziest deaths ever. But that's pretty much it for perception. All you need is the number 2. If towards like the end of the game, around like the 70s or 80s levels, you want to use the points to increase it, you can. But with those expert, if you have money, which we'll have with high intelligence, you can just buy a bunch of explosives and just like pile them on. All right, endurance. The main thing will be the Aqua Boy and Aqua Girl. You have to get that bobblehead. It is incredibly difficult to get it. I personally have always just given myself 5 endurance. This is the first time I'm going to be trying 4 and trying to go for it. I will be taking advantage of Creation Club. The Sentinel bot, whatever, it will be coming with me. I'll have a follower with a bunch of explosives, like just having them go around corners and stuff. Like telling them to go here and there to see. That way, and then once we get inside, I'll have the bot and my follower fight the raiders. You'll have to be level 12 at least, so you can avoid the traps they set there. But hopefully it goes well. That's all I have to say. And of course, toughness is there as well. So toughness and Aqua Boy is all you need. Would be nice to have. Now, the Antimentium skeleton, if you actually... Let me just show you guys real quick. If you go to your appearance, you actually don't need that perk. You can get that perk automatically. So if you go to your body, if you have it like all the way up to muscular, like all the way top of the triangle, your limbs will not fracture at all. I don't know if that's a glitch or it's part of the game, but just let me put it out there. So that would be endurance. All right, moving on to charisma. Charisma is probably the thing that I least like about this game. To me, it's one of the reasons why I just infuriates me a little bit because at level 6 you get local leader. And the problem is that you can't build workbenches. And so Sanctuary Hills pretty much becomes your de facto base. You can't really build other settlements because you won't have access to the workbenches. You always have to keep going back to Sanctuary Hills or Red Rocket, which just drives me completely insane. Like you're basically being so. I mean, it's Zone 1 is the safest place to have a settlement anyway. There is though the farm one near the how do I say it? The raiders where the farmers ask you to save their son. You guys know what it is. There's a bridge there which you can build upwards towards and build on top of it, but I mean you can still build. It's just that you won't have the workbenches. Again, eventually we will have all these perks anyway. Leveling up in this game is super easy. There's many ways to go around it. But in the beginning of the game, you don't really want to do that. You want to take advantage of having a low level. But for Charisma of the Bobblehead, which is pretty easy to get, once you get to the Asylum, you can get it early on there. Just go through a little bit, and you can grab and just leave. So Lone Wanderer, we'll grab that, and that's pretty much all we'll have. I guess the Cap Collector could be useful with the high intelligence, but that's like end game. All right, intelligence, the big one. I've done very low intelligence builds before. In reality, I've kept it at 1 at times, where I will just get the skill book and the bobblehead, and I'll have 3, and I'll have access to gun nuts. But since I have all this extra stuff now that I'm really condensing it, again, you could put into here, you could do charisma. So this is really the build, and then you can do your variation. I think perception is probably the last thing you could do. If you really want to be able to build and set up a camps anywhere you want, you do charisma. But I think intelligence is probably the best way to go about it. And yes, the skill book and bobblehead, you will have 8 intelligence, which is important because you'll have robotics expert, chemist, science, scrapper you don't really need because science and chemist, which makes you a bunch of money. So materials are not really a problem. Either there's just weight. Hacker I don't really use at all. That's like super end game. Medic you don't really need because it's survival mode. And again, the most important thing will be gun nut, science, chemist, robotics expert for the Automatron DLC. And again, Nerd Rage would be cool to have to save you. I think Nerd Rage would be a great perk to have actually, but we don't have enough for that. That could really save you in survival mode, especially if you get hit. Because again, it's pretty much like a few hits and you're dead, like 2 or 3 hits and you're pretty much gone. Luckily, we have the Doom armor here as well to help us out. We can upgrade it at the start of the game. It gives over 100 protection. But could that be factored into the leveling up process? Maybe, but for the first 70 levels, it's pretty much contained. Another thing is how fast you level up with intelligence, experience points earned and stuff. Again, I like to get the bobbleheads first before I hit level 30. But all right, next one, agility. With the bobblehead, you'll have 7, and you'll have ninja. Moving target is actually kind of important. You don't need action boy. Commando for the spray and pray. That way, even if you don't have that much expert, you can still have the commando to help you out if you want to use that gun. I personally don't use it. I try to find alternatives for it. Mr. Sandman, very important. Sneak is obviously the most important thing. It's one of the first things you upgrade. Sneak level 3 is a must. I don't start exploring until I have sneak level 3. And pretty much there. We don't need quick hands. If you're reloading and the enemy is still alive, you need to be running, not reloading. Running very, very fast. And then we have gun fluid stuff we don't really need. Because the reason perception and agility is not high is because of the most important, which is of course luck. Luck is the most important one. With bobblehead, you'll have Green River Sprint. Bobblehead is super easy. Yeah, just swim to the boat, hop on. Don't go on the island at all because you're gonna get killed instantly. But just grab it and swim back. Um, the reason why I did not go with four-leaf clover, so basically kind of do like this, is because you don't really need it. You basically can increase your meter by buying frag mines and then shooting the mines with a regular gun. Obviously, that's a very expensive way to do it, but with science, you can build purifiers and buy a bunch of frag mines if you want to, so it's not really an issue. And critical banker and better criticals are super important. This is basically a one shot to your enemy, and then you combine it with the ninja perk. So with the silenced weapon and the critical, it's like instant kill. Mysterious Stranger, I don't really go for because I don't use VATS that often. VATS is only for critical shots because if the enemy sees you, you're gonna get killed if you go into VATS because you're stuck there. And of course, Bloody Mess is very important. Fortune Finder and Scrounger you don't need because we're gonna have money with Chemist and Science on. And that's pretty much it. That is the build. Sort of a water like man-to-man type build. So I name myself what I name myself, but that's pretty much it. This is gonna be like the final build, like the one that's the most hardest build to do because it requires all the bobbleheads, but you'll have access to all the important perks. You'll be able to do the Amatron, build robots. Even though I pretty much avoid that till the end of the game because that DLC is incredibly hard, especially in survival mode when you can have like legendary multiple robots coming after you. True, you can hack them, but it's still pretty dangerous. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to see more videos, let me know. Take care.